All right, a very good morning. It is Monday, the 2nd of October 2023. This is a new month. We have a lot of things that we'll be discussing on this day. Remember, there are so many that happened over this weekend, and also today we have a new day that we are starting in this new month. Unfortunately, the date and the day are not rhyming, so the date is ahead of the days, and it is not something that will surprise anyone, because this is the setup of our calendar. And let's be sincere that all the activities that we plan in this month, from this month onwards, we have a lot of festivities. So the business persons should be able to tap a lot from this. And if you have been doing a lot of business not in line with what is going on, and then you should be able to really look at what events will be happening on this month and the next months to come, so that you are able to prioritize what you should be trading in. Because if you are venturing into maybe some of the things that may not move very fast, you will not be able to really achieve much in terms of really going far with the earnings and so on. And remember, from today up to the end of this week, we will be really celebrating teachers. Okay, we have the days to the week to remember teachers and also their contribution in nation building. And this is what we will really be focusing on from Monday up to Friday. And a lot of things, activities will be taking place on this day. Remember, the World Teachers Day is just on the 5th of this month. That will be on Thursday. That is where we'll be really digesting a lot of things to do with teachers. Do you know your teacher? That is what we'll be asking. And if you're watching in any part of this country, in West Nile here, away from Uganda and in the diaspora, you should be able to tell us who your teacher is. You should be able to really also tell us where you are watching us from. And apparently, I have Farish Majid that will be in this first segment with, and after him, we'll be ushering in our guests who are coming from the teaching fraternity. We have the retired teachers, we have those who are still serving. We'll be ushering one or two of them to come in to really come and say a lot of things. And remember, there's a lot that is going on in this country. Apart from the education stories, we have the extension that has been really put on the executive order number 3. Remember, this executive order came for northern Uganda specifically to address the issues of environmental degradation, the issues of tampering with the species, the grass species, the animal species, the forest cover, and so on. So many things, natural habitats that we have around. You remember the issues to do with the encroachment into swamps and so on, and a lot of things that are happening in this country. That's why the executive order came. Remember, there were issues to do with the issues to do with deforestation that was on rise. This is resulting from the issues of forest depletion. Remember, people had invested so much energy into degrading the forest cover, starting from the aspect of charcoal burning, which was so huge, and really a lot has been really done around this. And remember, this executive order, if it was really implemented or enforced, it was going to really help us so much. And that is where really people had put a lot of emphasis. If the enforcement had taken place, it will be of good importance. Maybe Faris is inside. Let's ask him on Faris. Yes, you're most welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, and good morning, our dear viewer. Thank you for joining us. In case you're just joining us for the very first time,
true.
This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile Television every Mondays to Fridays from 7 to 9 a.m., where we give you highlights of some of the issues that have transpired in the due course of the week. And today is a Monday, as I earlier said, and remember, we have a lot that is going to be happening this week and this month as well. This week we are having the Teachers' Day, and you talked about it, which is on 5th. But the question you should be asking yourself is, how often do you relate with your teachers? How far is the relationship that you had with your teachers, and how far has it gone? That is one question that we always need to look out for, because some of us have forgotten our teachers. we really have forgotten them, and some of us do not even go back to them. And this is really so quite shocking, because really that office you're holding is as a result of that teacher whom you have really abandoned. So we need to ensure going back to our teachers. And then this month as well, we also have the Independence Day celebrations, the Uhuru, which people call it, like how people call it very much in this region here. And remember, Uhuru Day celebrations, Frederick, really have a great role in this month. People really treasure Uhuru when it comes to our localities within West Nile here, and people really have treasured this day, and that means that we are also getting ready for this day. We come next week on Monday, so I think we just have a week to it, and we shall be also in place to celebrate that day.
Okay, that is not the only day, but today we have a lot of national, international days that we are really commemorating. Do you remember the Bullying Prevention Day? Today we have it. Okay, were you bullied anyway in one way or the other when you were in your secondary or maybe lower secondary?
Yes, we know we have different forms of bullying, and some of us have gone through different formats.
By the way, how was your experience in joining senior one?
When I joined senior one, I was quite a tiny and young boy. This is one of the schools here, but is it really necessary for me to mention it?
Of course, it happens. It is an experience of learning. And I remember for me, when I joined, the school is Maracha Secondary School. When I joined, I was around, that was in 2012, senior one. And I was just a very little boy and so on. When I reached there, the senior twos were like, Njoka, can you bring for us a karafi from home? And those are, they're talking about these toasted ginas and mixed with the maize, and they were asking for these things. I was like, you guys, why are you asking for my things? And you know what they were saying?
No.
They were telling me that they are actually supposed to rule over the Njokas, and that I have a tail which is behind me here, that I'm coming from P7 with it, and they need to cut it. And so, those were the things they were saying. And one of them started teasing me to an extent that the guy pulled a knife and wanted to cut me, and I was like, hey, you guys, are you serious?
This was quite shocking.
I was so annoyed, and you know, when you are from primary, you have joined secondary, at some point you fear people, but when you realize that this is your age mate, at some point you lose your temper and you feel like, I can move with this one. And that was what happened.
You know, the same thing almost happened to me when I was in senior one. This was at St. John's College Ombachi some time back when I just joined. As a young senior one boy, you know, when I reached there, the kind of bullying I found was not the one that we were really told of, because when we are joining, we know our predecessors, our people who went there, we were already telling us of what we are going to find ahead of us. So when I joined, I didn't find the kind of bullying that was really talked to me, but what I found of a lesser one, but which was still bullying. You know, senior two students really at times tend to have the tendency of revenging a lot on the senior ones, and you can not really blame them once you join the situation. So when I joined Ombachi, that was really something that was there, but it was not done in open. It was really, just like you said, the cutting of the tail. But for us, it was now different. It was done when you are joining senior 2. It was done by the senior 3s now. Senior 3s and the senior 4s, we are doing this now. By the time they cut your tail. There is a way they do it. Somebody hits your bum seriously. And that is how they were doing it.
Yes, you can say your experience. So, how did you join senior one, and how were you welcomed by colleagues? And that is what we want to hear.
And the kind of welcome they gave us was really that they really begged a lot from us. You know, they really came to senior ones, they take your sugar, they ask for, but there's no way you're going to refuse, because at the end of the day, this is the same thing you'll be doing next year.
And by the way, there was some guy in our set who succeeded in not giving, and they named him a pariah. A pariah means somebody who is stingy, and that was the way they named him. The guy you see him eating those akrafi at around midnight, at around 3 there. You hear something, you know, these jaws, when they mix with those hard maize and so on, and you hear that noise.
You know,
you'll be like, who is eating at this time? Is it a rat? Is it a human being? And he makes sure he covers himself in the blanket when he's eating.
I think we also had the same. because such people are not out of the societies. In every society, they are there. In all the schools, I believe they are there, because we also had people of this nature who would want to eat their things alone. But the issue comes when you have problems, but nobody will rescue you. So I think that issue of bullying needs to be taken serious. But I think now the kind of bullying has really drastically reduced, given the fact that our learners now go to school when they are young. Unlike us who found elders, really we found who were like our uncles, who are like our fathers in senior 6, senior 4, and these were really mature people. Unlike today, whereby you really see that it is almost the same age bracket. It is the young ones who have really gone back to school. So I think this issue of bullying needs to be reduced, because at the end of the day, it affects learning. Yeah, because if you are in an environment that bullying is going on, trust me, you will not really enjoy the environment.
I remember it
will really distract you.
It creates a lot of panic among the new entrants.
The new entrants, because the anxiety.
There was one who at night decided to go home with his mattress and so on. And that is the negative impact. But otherwise, bullying in some sense, it creates that atmosphere of socialization. Once they have asked from you maybe some of these karafis and the sugars and so on, you start to become friends with them and so on. But the negative side is at some point, some of them go up to threatening your life and so on. Those are things that really create a lot of panic. And today is also another interesting day, with the World Habitat Day, and then we have also the Non-Violence Day, which is an international day that we are commemorating today, and so many others that we have today. And remember, today is really full of a lot of things that need to be corrected. And I was earlier on discussing something about to do with the executive order that was put by His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni Kaguta, in order to really respond to the cry of the people of northern Uganda. Remember the issues to do with the Balalu people, the cattle keepers, the nomadics, and the people who really move with these animals. They have been really grabbing people's land. The allegations were so immense that people at some point started threatening the lives of these people, because at some point they were regarded as the animal thieves. They move with your animals when they are moving with their animals and so on. And those were the issues that were featured there. But remember, unfortunately, this for the third time has been extended. Remember, this was supposed to be enforced by April this year, but also it was pushed to September 30th. And up to September 30th, yesterday we show another pronouncement that it has been also again extended to the 20th of October. Farish,
yes.
What do you make of this? We have continued to have these kind of things extended, and yet these animals, the impact of them really is felt by the local people in terms of crop losses, in terms of animal losses.
Let me just hint briefly on this. You know, the issue of this Balalu being expelled from northern Uganda is something that has just not started now. It is something that has been there. It may be, just like you said, it is the third time we are seeing government coming up with that order of saying these people should leave northern Uganda. And this issue does not just come like this. It is coming from the complaints of the leaders from northern Uganda, because these people have really come up with their activities of cattle raids, of really coming with their animals. And some of these animals, remember, our people are not basically what? Cattle keepers. When it comes to northern Uganda, most of the families here are not cattle keepers. They are actually agriculturists. When you move to northern Uganda entirely, and these people have been really dispersed themselves in all the parts of northern Uganda. Even in Western area, when you move to Madiokoro, these people are there. And the issue that was really coming out was the issue of the land grabbing, which they talked of. And it's not necessarily land grabbing, but this issue came out as a result of insecurity. These people are really bringing issues of insecurity when it comes to their staying together. But we really call this, which is really uncalled for, because as people of Uganda, we really have hope to coexist together. Because these Balalu, if who are coming here, if they were really coming up with good motives, if their activities were not having negative impacts on our activities, really we would want to coexist with them. But I think where the issue is coming, where all the conflicts are coming from, is the issue of these people's activities. First of all, these people's animals sometimes are left to move in a free range system, which really becomes difficult for the farmers to control their animals from these animals eating them, which becomes difficult for protection in terms of their farmland. So I think this is where the issue is all coming, because these people have come up with the huge number of cattle, which really, and remember, when it comes to northern Uganda, our grassland, our people also have their animals. So this is where the conflict is coming from. The issues of animals basically is what is bringing all this mess that we are really seeing. So I think this also came with a huge number of cattle, and then we also have our own people. So the interest comes in here. Then secondly, we have seen these people causing more conflicts, Frederick. Why am I saying this? People have opted to sell for these people land cheaply. You know, somebody selling a huge chunk of land at 400,000 just to go and drink and just to go and do certain small things. And then the land this person is selling, Frederick, in most cases, is not a land that belongs to him. It could be a family land, could be somebody's land. So at the end of the day, this issue causes conflicts between families, and that is why these people have come up and really said that they were run by the Balalu in their land. In Madokolo, in Ranokan particularly, these people were expelled. They were really expelled from there, and they brought lorries and left. The ones who remained there, I think, are the ones that maybe are the women who got married there. For them, they could not move, and I've seen some remaining there. So I think this issue is one that needs to be addressed. And when you move to parts of Acholi land, this is where the issue, the most of the conflicts is actually coming from. If you move to Acholi land, this is where most of the issues are really coming from. And this is where we also need to address this issue, because at the end of the day, this is becoming a security threat if it's not addressed timely, because government needs to come up with clear solutions to address this issue of the conflict between the Balalu and the natives of northern Uganda. Because if it's not addressed, we may at one time see bloodshed and lives lost, because this issue is really a security threat. And remember, issues of, when it comes to conflicts of, these people are really accusing each other. The northerners, who are the natives, have been accusing the Balalu of stealing their animals. This issue is one that also needs to be addressed, because for the Balalu, you know them, they keep huge numbers of cattle. And we believe that the pastoralists. So I think this issue of these people who really came for, you know, the issue comes in, these people came into rare animals. They came in few numbers, but they went back and called others. So I think this is one challenge that needs to be addressed, because we know, the nature of our people, Frederick, our people are not what? Our people are not pastoralists. Yeah, and we have that saying, Balalu are the best cattle keepers, and we really have that belief, and now we have given it a mandate, we have given it the priority, we have given it that acceptance that Balalu are the best cattle keepers. And as other tribes, we have really accepted this, we have really seen it working. So I think that issue of us giving priority to these people and giving them the belief that they are the best cattle keepers is what is causing this. Northerners, we have really, if we are not, because we have really seen ourselves deviating a little bit from agriculture, why don't we go into animal production now? Most of the youths are lying idle, and we are going to bring other people from other places to come and do what we can really do. So this is really quite shocking. If
do we have the animals, by the way? You are talking about
Frederick, our families, Frederick, our families have animals, but are not like in huge numbers like how the Balalu keep them. The animals are very few. In our villages, the person who has most animals may be 20 or 30 perhaps. This is the person who may be the richest and with the most number of animals, but the Balalu may have over 50. So we have seen them keeping these huge numbers of animals, which really becomes a threat. So it is really coming from them. If really they had chances of selling maybe some of the animals out and keeping a few numbers, this is where we will be able to also avert some of the challenges of these conflicts between them and the natives. So I think this issue, the government needs to come up with clear strategies to see to it that they address this issue once and for all. Why am I saying this, Frederick? Why am I saying this as I finalize? Why am I saying this? Because this is not the first time we are seeing the government giving an order to move the Balalu out of northern Uganda. This could be the third time or fourth time perhaps, but it has not really worked. What is government not doing to see to that this issue is really addressed? Or if moving them is failing, can't we deviate new means to harmonize and see to it that these people peaceful coexist once again? This is what I really think of of everything maybe that is happening in these issues of the conflict between the natives and the Balalu.
Okay, if you look at that executive order, that is number 3, that was really put by the president, you realize that in the context, there are so many things that are tackled under this executive order. You have the commercial charcoal trade that has been stopped completely, but also talk about the issues to do with the movement of these Balalu and so on. They are supposed to be evicted and taken back to their homeland or places of origin where they have been really dealing in their animals or grazing them somewhere, and also really leave this region that is northern Uganda. But also talking about the issues of direct dealing with the forest products, and you have lumbering, which has been persistent, the issues of K Forest Reserve, the issues of Zoka Forest that have been really alarming and so on. And most of the trucks coming to West Nile or northern Uganda with cement, they go back with the forest products without even bringing seedlings. Those were the things that were highlighted there. But also a lot of the things, the question still remains, what interest does government have in protection of the environment? Talk about when you have issued an order, an executive order like that, why should we go back and discuss it and revoke it? Or maybe say, no, we are extending the deadline. What are we negotiating for? When we are addressing a serious issue, that is what I think could have been done. It should have been executed, because any order comes when now every avenue has failed. There were deployments of officers to curtail some of these things. We saw situations where officers that were deployed were accused of really also aiding the activities. And these were the things that were really maybe bringing into force the executive order. And now we have decided to localize the executive order as if it is really something to play with, like it is a bylaw that you can maneuver around and so on and so on. It has not really been a biting kind of thing. And let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be able to move to other issues that are happening in this country, and also we'll be discussing with our guests whatever we'll be also talking about. I remember the teacher absenteeism has costed the government 1.5 trillion Ugandan shillings, and that's what we'll be moving to. But also the list of PTCs that have been also dissolved, or maybe changed or repurposed to other activities. They are no longer going to be PTCs, has been released out, and that is where we'll be also talking about. And also you have the local government workers protesting that they need an increase of their salaries. These are all and more that we'll be discussing in the subsequent hours. Let's take a break.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
A brand new Global Star TV with StarTimes Inside Technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt. Star TV with StarTimes Inside Technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that commercial break. Earlier on, I told you that we'll be moving away from the issues to do with the executive order number 3 that was really put to ensure that the environmental destructions by both humans and the animals that we have on this land, especially in northern Uganda, comes to an end, has been extended. And remember, this was really something that local leaders or local governments were expecting to have yielded, because I remember when this was pronounced, there were so many efforts pushed by local governments to arrest, impound, or really confiscate a lot of forest products from these dealers, the commercial charcoal dealers, those who are dealing in timber, those who are dealing in what, and so on. And so many evictions were done in some of these forest products. And that's why you see at least some stability. But this has unfortunately been extended. Its commencement official has been extended to the 20th of October 2023. This was after an extension which expired on 30th of September. And this is where really a lot of debate is being coming around across the country, and we'll be able to see how far this goes. But we will dive into that in the subsequent hours to come, or tomorrow we can still bring back that. And today we are really centering our discussions around local governance and also the teachers that we have in this country. I have one of the prominent persons who has the both experiences, both in the local governance and also really was in the teaching fraternity. That is the one and only Andama Richard Ferua, whom most of you know that he has been in local governance, serving as the district chairman of Barua district by then for really 10 years. And also he has been a teacher by profession, by the way. And also he is currently doing a lot of things to do with tourism. He has all those experiences. Andama, you're most welcome to West Nile TV.
Oh, thank you, Fred.
Yes. That is him, and I think we need to start off from the issues to do with local government officials demanding for a pay rise, and they are suggesting that the first or the people who have just entered should be paid a salary of 1.7 million Ugandan shillings. What is your say about this? But also those who have at least lasted, the smallest person who is earning should be 2.5 million Ugandan shillings. What is your suggestion about this? And we've seen so many times that people have been crying for pay increment. The teachers also did the same. The scientist general came, and the primary teachers were the ones who were frustrated, who did not succeed in their move to ask for a pay rise. And this have been really a lot of things that are happening in this country. What do you say in relation to this?
Mr. Fred Dramadri, I thank you so much this morning for giving me an invitation for this program on West Nile TV. It's a pleasure that we are discussing very pertinent issues that affect our community, particularly in West Nile, and most probably the whole country. You know, when government came out with the decentralization policy in 1992, it was for a purpose. And it had to establish decentralization as an organization, because organization always has got a vision, mission, objectives. And therefore, this organization will always strive to achieve its objectives, and particularly positively to affect the society in order to propel the society move. And actually, local governments are component of actually decentralization. Now, because of this, it is only the qualified hard-working and purposeful personnel that should be recruited in local government in order to implement all the central government programs. And in fact, all central government programs are implemented in local governments. And therefore, what does this entail? This entails that, one, we need really qualified personnel or human resource in the local governments that must be properly motivated in order to deliver these very much needed services to our people in all the local governments, including West Nile. And if government had a goodwill to come out, you see, with an idea of increasing salaries to local governments, it is pertinent that these salaries actually, once announced, should be paid to the beneficiaries in order to motivate them. You see, now local governments have been increasing. By the time I was the district chairperson for Arua, from 2001 to 2011, and the vice president for all the local governments of Uganda, we had 80 local governments. And in fact, for us local government leaders, we wanted the number to remain at least 80 so that the overhead cost of managing local governments should be held minimum in order to ensure that facilities that are required should be availed for these effective service delivery. What are the actual facilities we are talking about? The facilities we are talking about, one, there are transport means for these local governments to move and monitor projects. There are office space that actually should be adequate enough for these people to sit and be able to write effective reports. There should be services that must be monitored effectively and therefore people, staff supervised in order to ensure that the services are actually being delivered and delivered effectively. You know, local government means effective and efficient delivery of services. That's when we are talking about governance, and particularly good governance. Now, the essence is motivation. Once human resources is motivated, good work will be done. And once that does not happen, then you can be sure so many things will be lacking. There will be a lot of substandard work that will be done, and that appears to be what is happening today. By the time I was in office, you know, this is the time where decentralization policy was enthusiastically, passionately, and effectively supported by donors and the international community, despite Uganda making its own contributions with the local resources and the revenue they had. Now I've seen this support is dwindling. That is now a big challenge for Uganda government, and therefore a big challenge for our local governance. And those are the issues that actually require to be addressed, Mr. Fred Dramadri.
Okay, I've seen in several forums that the LC5s currently are advocating for an increase of their salaries, the what, and the allowances. Talk about the logistics that you talked about earlier, and this has been really cited as one of the issues that are demoralizing local revenue mobilization in most of these local governments. Do you think it is worth increasing their salaries? And also looking at some of the issues around this, you realize that most of the politicians, the LC5s and so on, who are also getting direct salaries, are explaining it in a way that the members of the community are over-demanding them in terms of their expenses, as they are trying to argue the case that whenever they pass around, people really ask for these monies. Is it worth to increase the salaries so that they are able to really pay to their voters, or it is really something that needed to be addressed in a technical bit?
Mr. Dramadri, you know, local governance has the two sides. We have the appointed and the elected leaders. And the elected leaders now include the executive of the district. That is a select group that actually supports the appointed local government leaders at the district level and other lower local government levels. And these are the core people who execute the service delivery. At that material time, the elected leadership tended to actually face more challenges, because one thing is they are playing a technical role by being full-time in office. They are also playing political role because there are people who are watching over them. As they give them votes, they actually need a return from them. Now, what kind of return are people, the voters, expecting from these elected leaders who are now executive in offices? There are several of them, actually multitude of them. One, somebody's child is sick, the person will expect you to give support, medical support to this child. Somebody lets fees, the voter is running over to the chairman and his executive. Somebody has got an accident, somebody is running immediately to the chairman, even instead of running to the cow.
Are those the roles that this chairman is supposed to play? Paying people's fees, maybe getting food for the people, maybe somebody is sleeping hungry and tonight he wants to have a honeymoon with the wife and doesn't have money, is coming to ask for this and so on. Are those the roles that this district chairperson or the executive committee of the district is supposed to perform, or they are supposed to do other duties? Let's tackle it from that angle.
Oh, wonderful, Mr. Fred. That's a nice question to ask. You know, an elected person is a human being with feelings. This elected person is not supposed to be paying fees or paying medical bills for these voters. True. But naturally, as a human being, now there is a kind of what we will call as a social contract. You know, you sign. Not written, but it is social contract that the elected people have signed with the voters. You cannot just all of a sudden stand up and say, no. I think I'm not going to pay, medical bills for you. I don't know you. You just can't say that. It definitely will tend amount to some level of inhumanity. Although the voters should have understood this very clearly, that there are key things that these people, elected leaders, are supposed to perform. But because of our extended family nature, of our natural nature, somebody elected, like a district chairperson, will have to bow low to these voters. Otherwise, the key roles of elected leaders, including the district chairperson, is to monitor all the human resource under him, supervise them, and be able to see that effective and efficient services are delivered. But in course of executing his work, you see, he is confronted with all this in the field. And therefore, what does that mean? That actually means you should have a certain level of remuneration available to him in his pocket. So that once he gets emergencies, he addresses them. But the way the issue of salary persons started a long time ago, it is really running nearly over 20 years. And basically depends on the local economic. When I was the vice president of all the local governments of Uganda, you see, I was getting my normal salary of the district chairperson, plus the other allowances from Uganda Local Government Association. But even, like the chairman of Wakiso has a better, you see, local revenue collection. Why? They have so many facilities, they have so many constructions. In fact, most of the people who live in Kampala City stay and reside in Wakiso. Now, because these people collect handsome revenue, the district council decides and pays actually their chairman much more handsomely.
Okay, why is this difficult for our local governments to do the same, to replicate what they have seen in Wakiso district or even in national municipality where we have seen most of the councillors driving cars and so on and so on? What is different in most of these local governments?
Yes. Now that needs a very critical thinking, and it needs a lot of initiative. It needs going down to the people and first of all motivating these people, encouraging them, trying to talk over with them to be able to pay the local revenue promptly and be able to energize the businesses so that the tax base actually improves and the people pay taxes willingly. And once local leaders are able to move very closer to the voters, to the taxpayers, they can actually motivate people to pay more so that they actually increase their allowances, for sure. But where this does not happen, you will remain with your normal tax base, and which is very low. And in some of our rural areas, people are crying all day and night. And there are people who have actually got married to laziness, despite the abundant resources available to them, where they should be able to, do businesses. And when we talk about business here, people are excluding agriculture. The key business we have got, which actually even it can't be taxed by Uganda Revenue Authority, is agriculture. If people go into agriculture, Uganda Revenue Authority will not be able to tax you over there. Unless you have massively moved with the machinery, then they will be able to tax your value added tax over you. Okay. But most of our small farmers, if they are organized and they have good businesses that generate them income, then they should be able to pay taxes to the local governments freely without being harassed, without being actually chased around in order to support their local governments, which they don't seem to know.
Okay, if you look at Uganda generally, you realize that Uganda's economic growth has not really reached up to the target that we have been aspiring for over 5 years. We have not reached the 6%, and this has been attributed to really performance in the local revenue. And I'm posing this question back to you. We have this set of Ugandans who are every time demanding for pay rise, including civil servants and the politicians. And we have seen the president retaliating by increasing some of the people's salaries or the group's salaries. Others have been put aside. And more have come out to really demand for a pay rise. Is this pay rise worth demanding of now? And looking at the current state in which Uganda has found itself, where the external support is doing.
The question, is this pay rise worthy?
Yes.
Before I answer that question, that is why I'm tourism ambassador for West Nile. This is a virgin area which many of our local governments were not exploiting, although there were a few tourism actual officers who were appointed in some of the districts. But now I'm very grateful with the sensitization we are carrying on the media. Most of our local governments in West Nile, these 13 actual districts, including the city, have now been appointed, and I'm very grateful to the Ministry of Tourism for this. We have a huge potentials, tangible tourism sites, cultural tourism sites, arts and crafts, music, drama, and dance and drama, mention them, which are available to us, with which we are being born and we found them here. Those areas now, I'm appealing to local governments to focus seriously so that they invest in those tourism sites, develop them. A case in point.
Maybe before you go to that case, I've asked the question.
Yeah.
Is this pay rise worth demanding? And at the current state, Uganda has found itself where the donor support, I mean all the external support, especially financial, is dwindling. Is this pay rise worth?
Now, Mr. Fred, the pay rise is actually worth. Okay. Pay rise is commensurate to service delivery.
Okay.
And you can see there are so many things that actually are not working out very well. The overhead cost of delivering services in a local government is extremely very high. Why is that so? In a given local government, people will require vehicles, people will require fueling, people will require allowances as they move to actually supervise service delivery. There are certain areas that actually civil servants are supposed to actually work very closely in order to monitor and supervise some of these things, including teaching in schools, which has actually deteriorated so badly because many of the school teachers are not being supervised in their processes of teaching. And one of them could be, lack of remuneration, motivation through this pay rise. Give them the pay and you follow them and see if they are delivering the services that you are delivering.
Okay.
If you see you need to milk a cow, you feed the cow. Make the cow graze in areas which are good enough to get actual milk. And that's when be relevant to why people are asking for pay rise. Number two, government decided to come voluntarily increasing salaries of science teachers. Now, if you have increased the salary of science teachers, remember all teachers are equal. I'm a teacher here and I will be able to advance the reasons why all teachers are equal. And therefore, the rest will definitely be able to raise the questions as to why they're being left out. And that could be one of the reasons why people are demanding for pay rise.
Okay, that is it that we have heard from I call him ambassador because really he has done a lot in terms of all these aspects of leadership. Talk about social, talk about this civic space and all other kind of areas that you may mention. And he has really had so much experience that is coming from under Richard Feru. And remember, the local government workers, really local governments have a lot to do for the central government. Talk about the issues of dissemination of the laws, the bills that are passed by the laws that are passed by parliament. Talk about the issues of feeding the country with local revenue, and that is the core mandate of these local governments. And once a local revenue has increased, there is always that gift of supplementary that is advanced to them. But also really the people who are touching these monies, do not see their pockets really wet, and that's why they are really coming up with these complaints, concerns, and recommendations to ensure that their pays rise. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll really move into the issues of teachers. Remember, there are a lot of issues around the teacher policy, the issues around the curriculum, the issues around the welfare of the teachers, and generally education status in Uganda. And really, we really need to move into that as we start this week of the teachers, to know your teacher, to identify yourself with that teacher who really made you a passion. I still remember my teacher in P5 who told me, Dramadri, since you have been in the first position, because you failed English, you are going to remain in P5. And really, I had to comply because I knew that things were going to be hard in P7. And that is the teacher I still remember who has made me speak this English today. Thank you. Let's take a break.
Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Inside technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Okay, we are back from that commercial break. Earlier on, we were discussing the issues of local government workers, really pushing forth to ensure that their salaries and allowances are increased. Remember, there is a lot that is done at local government. I was earlier on highlighting the issues to do with local revenue enhancement, ensuring that the assets of government are taken care of. It is the local government workers who are in the forefront. You know, there's a lot of land of government that is really under the caretakership of these local governments. So if they don't really relate well, if they connive to sell this land, then government will not have any land. Remember, our land policy is very clear that land belongs to the people. So if government has those minor ones and they are not really protected, we will not have that. And we hope their cry towards the enhancement of their salaries is heard, and really something is added for them. Remember earlier on, the issues of teachers or the scientists was general, and there were also politicians who said they were scientists but now serving in politics and wanted their salaries to be enhanced. And that was one thing that was making a lot of rounds in social media. People were making jokes around that if you were a science teacher and you are now a politician, you should be also having an increase. That is one thing that made a lot of jokes. But let's move to this story where 1.5 trillion has been lost by government to teachers who are really absenting themselves each and every year. And that is one story that has made a lot of scares in this country. Remember, the teachers have been really given that up, okay? Have been given an opportunity to dialogue with the government. Many times teachers have been always moving to State House, teachers moving to meet their state, the ministers and so on. They have even all national forums to discuss a lot of issues to do with teachers. But we have these teachers whose salaries were enhanced. They are making a lot of joys. They are eating every time in good restaurants. Some of them have even bought cars. Others have established themselves houses, rentals and so on. But you have this section of teachers who are termed to be arts teachers. And these have continued to cry because they are still receiving the same salary that they were receiving when they joined the profession. Some of them are 50 years now. Some of them are 40 years and so on, but they are still receiving the same salary that they started receiving earlier on. And this has really made the art teachers to abscond duties most times. Some of them have bought motorcycles. They only come there and tap in and log into those systems and show their presence. They don't even enter for lectures. They move away. And sometimes others enter, but you will not see them on compound. Some of them send notes. Some of them refer the learners to the textbooks and so on. And those are the attitudes that have really deteriorated the education quality that we have in this country. Really, we have ambassador still with me here, Richard Antama Ferua, who is a retired teacher and also a retired politician. I don't know if he's tired also. Maybe you retired for the sake of being active in politics, because I saw you sometime back in a video dancing there with the atom up and so on. I could not now show the sign now, but let me hope you are still there, keeping it as a consultant with the people and so on, and just like the way you have been doing it. What does this take? Okay. What is making teachers abscond from duty and yet the welfare has been enhanced? Yes.
Mr. Fred Dramadri, you know, when we are now talking about the profession of teaching, that is very passionate to my life. Most of my life I spend in teaching. And I want to first of all thank the Christian missionaries, and particularly the Catholic missionaries who founded these schools. By the way, most of the schools in Uganda are either founded by the Catholic Church or Anglican Church or Muslim. There were actually very few government schools, and that actually came of late. And therefore, the schools still belong to the foundation bodies. That's why you hear Mbara is a great, a grant aided school. You see, government is only grant aiding Mbara, Ombati, Koboko. There's still schools, foundation bodies at the churches. You know, according to the particularly Italians in West Nile, the brightest children were sent to teacher training colleges because they wanted a teacher to be an able person with the knowledge, with the skills, with the passion, who will take this as actual a vocation. You know, priesthood is a vocation, because somebody should be able to go there and prepare people properly for heaven. That is what the teachers should be like. And therefore, I was one of those who went to teacher training college in Lodonga, St. Joseph's College Lodonga, on merit, because of my qualification in primary. After entering, I came out and started teaching as a grade 2. Now, when I look at what I did as a grade 2, and look at what is happening to teachers today, where by policy they are supposed to be either diploma holders and degree holders.
Actually, degree holders, not now diploma.
Now you can imagine. Now you begin to wonder, What kind of degrees are we giving to teachers? Where teachers are not passing out to children in the required grades. For us, grade 2, I went to grade 3 in the morning and did other degrees after that. Children are not passing in our schools. What is happening? For me, if children did not pass in my school, in Noro Primary School, in Indiria Primary School, in Omugo Primary School in grade 1, I will tell the DO I'm going to resign. Because the quality of a teacher now is measured by the number of performances that they are producing to go to the higher education. Mr. Damadi, you actually passed well, that's why you went to secondary school. And definitely you have been telling me about a good teacher who was able to be empathetic. A teacher is supposed to be empathetic. A teacher is supposed to be fair. A teacher is supposed to be that person who nurtures and mentors you as his own child or her own child. A teacher should be able to mentor you as a relative, as a brother, as a sister. And that's what I did. I'm going to be able to tell you people who have gone through my class and actually people who appreciate me. And I continue to look young because of these people I taught, and they love me up to today. Who are these? The Vice Chancellor of Muni University was one of my children I taught from P4 up to P7.
Wow. And
I taught all the subjects actually he did his PhD with, sciences and mathematics. And you can see how this professor loves me today. And I feel happy. Just meeting him alone is money for me. That is the kind of thing that we would want our teachers to be. Once you have opted to go into teaching, it should be a vocation for you. You make now all the necessary actual sacrifices to educate these children the parents have entrusted over to you, my colleague teachers. Now, I have seen things have deteriorated badly. Just on Saturday, I was burying one of my best brilliant students, Engineer Patrick Angupale in Omugo. These guys came from exile in Sudan, and they had nothing. And now I was visiting the family almost every morning to see how their situation was. And in 1986, what did these guys do? 47 of them passed in grade 1. And this guy now went to Ombati Secondary School. He was excelling in all the subjects. And indeed, all his students during his funeral were praising him for the brilliance he had. To me, I feel that is the kind of thing teachers should be having. Look at the future of these children, be able to see that these children become their own children, you own them. These children become their own brothers and sisters after they actually get educated and move on with education, so that they come back and give back to the people and be able to, sensitize and educate the community for sustainability of education. Now, this has all been diluted. Today we are talking about salaries. Mr. Fred, I started teaching in 1970. My salary was 350 shillings.
350,000?
Not 1,000, 350 shillings.
How was your budget?
The budget was extensive. This money had value. And by the time I was teaching, Indians were still in Nadri.
Okay.
And the Indians now knew me because I used to play football for Maratha team. Now the Indians brought this motorcycle, scooter, they brought a vacuum wagon and packed them in front of my door. And say, our teacher, you are going to pay us slowly. Okay. You are going to, pay us. This is wonderful. Out out of 350 shillings, not 1,000, 350 shillings. That was the money. Now, that money had value. But
So maybe let me ask you from there, how were you able to balance work with this little resource other than really also deviating from the primary activity that you were employed for? Because there are so many teachers who are employed and they feel like whatever they are earning every month is not enough, and they want to maybe add some of the things that they want to do. For instance, you have this teacher who has a bike, and once he goes to the school, and after maybe teaching, he leaves at some point at around 10 during break time. He has gone, he comes back at lunch. Maybe if the school is cooking some food there, he comes and takes the food, he goes back for his border work. How were you able to do yours?
Wonderful.
Because that time I know you might have not done that kind of activity. Yes.
No, Mr. Fred, this is wonderful. Now, many of our teachers at times relax. They think their salary is everything, and therefore if you buy industrial products, now you have food to buy, you have fees to pay to children or dependents. You see, there are so many things, your medical things, people will always want to depend on you. This has not only started today, it started a long time ago, even before us. One wonderful thing is, in all the primary schools in West Nile here, in the Lugbara land, there is always land given to schools.
True.
Now, in the Noro Primary School, I had land. Immediately, they allocated me land. Now, when I was transferred to Ndiria, I had land. When I went to Mugo, I had land. And do you know what the pathetic situation is? Like in these schools, teachers do not want to use this free school land they are given freely.
Okay.
Now he decides to divert it to using only that little money you have. Money will never be enough for anybody anywhere. It can be in thousands, it can be in millions, it can be in trillions, not enough, because they will always write at the end only. 3 trillion only, 5 trillion only. No, money will never be enough for anybody.
Who attached this only to money?
Maybe economists.
Hey.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, here, teachers can supplement their small salary with the land if they have. Even if the school doesn't have land, they could borrow. There are actually at times some parents who are very happy, they love teachers. If you teach their children well, parents will say, come, I have a piece of land here I will share with you. That will supplement your little salary, and you actually sustain on it, and that's what they have been doing. By the way, I have children. Many people here at times feel I don't have. I have one of my girls who is working in the president's office, but she's a farmer. I have actually 4 daughters who are farmers and who have other professions. Two of them are nurses. One of them does ICT in Kigali. But they are all farmers. Why? Me as their teacher, father and their teacher was a farmer. Each time they go to class, I come with them and go to the field in the evening before we come for supper. We must go to the field and cultivate. And now one thing is, we used to cultivate using modern methods. I've even seen teachers broadcasting seeds.
When they are great teachers,
you are a teacher. What does this mean? You plant peanuts, you plant these beans, you plant maize. You are a teacher. How does a teacher go and begin to broadcast honestly? So, teachers can actually do a lot to improve their own welfare. True. There are their potentials. There are resources, my teachers. And we can do that. And therefore, we can do that by remaining in the classroom. If we will keep on crying to government There are no governments in the world that will actually have excess money to spend on teachers the way you demand. You keep on demanding, but you keep on doing things that make you able enough to teach these children. The children belong to you.
Okay.
Don't think that you should be teaching your biological children. These children who are not your own will support you much better. Today I'm very, very, very proud. And I work in the city here. Why? I have so many, I'm being surrounded with educated children, educated people. I taught in these primary schools. Everybody is ferua, ferua, ferua. That makes me happy. That is my gratuity. And that we should go that direction. Now, if we are Christians, we are Muslims, and we have always talked about empathy in our churches, let us apply it. Let us apply fairness, goodness, to other people. Therefore, at the same time, on the same verge, I'm appealing to government to be able to live to its own commitments. If you have committed to pay salaries, pay them. And particularly paying salaries to teachers. In a classroom, a teacher is in a laboratory. The pupil is a laboratory. And therefore, the teacher must handle this specimen properly in order to develop this, because this is a human resource for this country. And therefore, why don't you sympathize with the situation of teachers and be able to pay even them faster than anybody, particularly actual teachers and people in the nursing section, so that they handle human resource. We need a healthy human resource to deliver services which are badly needed. And this human resource comes from nowhere but from teaching, teaching section. Ministry of Education. Okay, maybe this brings me to the issues of universal education policy. And remember, the government rolled the UPE, USE, and so on from 1980s, and up to now, we have continued to enjoy this universal education. And you realize that the issues that have featured include the issues to do with the welfare of the teachers, talk about not only salaries, but the other aspects. These have been really so much and witnessed. I remember last week I did a story about the teachers who are sleeping in classrooms, not only in Arua City. In Arua City, you will go, right now if you go to Pokea Primary, you will find that teachers are sleeping in classrooms. There are 2 of them. And if you go to Riadzin Primary School, you have 3 teachers who are sleeping in dilapidated classroom block, which is, they are actually, their worries that it may fall on them. And this is the situation some of the teachers have found themselves. In terms of infrastructure, how were the situations in those years of 19-something when universal primary education or secondary education was not yet introduced? How were things running? True. Like in Noro and Ndiria, where I was a teacher and a headmaster for a long time, it was concern of parents. Once a headmaster plans well with his parents, one, the parents will be able to construct actually houses for their teachers, and they did it. I saw that in Noro Primary School, where all the teachers were housed in the school. And that, what does that mean? That means that it translates to teachers coming to school early, teachers leaving at times late because they are able to assist those other children and students up to late evening in order to go home. Then I see where it becomes like taking meals, taking lunch. The teachers will have something to take, either water or some porridge in their houses which are near. And you know, that matters a lot. That matters a lot. Also how a teacher is handled, particularly by parents, they were ready. Now, when the issue of universal primary was introduced in 1997, of course, many of the parents were excited. They didn't know exactly how these universal primary education and secondary education would be managed. They didn't know that there were so many advantages and disadvantages that will live with this. One of them was, during this time, before 1997, parents were paying fees, and the schools were managed better.
Okay.
Because I was a practitioner at that time. I was a headmaster, at the same time a teacher. By the way, one of the things is, there are some people now, when you appointed a headmaster, you must know that you were first a teacher. Now, once some people are appointed headmasters, they don't seem to teach. And that's a mistake, because once you don't teach, teachers are not going to teach. You think you're a big man. No, you are a teacher first, after you are appointed headmaster. And therefore, you must live to the professionalism of teaching. Therefore, using the local fees which was collected, headmasters were able to construct even classes. They were able to construct some houses. Although the money was not enough, they will do the best. And once they did that, parents will also be motivated and say, yes, because we are paying fees and it is not real enough, we can now go and be able to contribute physically by constructing houses for our teachers or constructing some classrooms. And that is, teachers and the parents worked together. This is now what this PTA came in, Parent Teachers Association. They were very strong. They were managing themselves. They will contribute. Now, because UPE actually came in, now everybody thought, because we are paying taxes, government should do everything. The person you are going to abandon, the teacher, sleeping in a classroom, as you alluded to, the pupils sitting under a big tree in large numbers is existing, because now parents have abdicated their roles to school because they think government will provide under UPE. The capitation grants, I'm told, are very small. I don't know. And if they are small, you understand that money is always not enough, and therefore there must be one way of augmenting or of adding or of topping it up in order to save the situation. Otherwise, we are going to deteriorate very badly. There is, first of all, an act by Parliament, an act of education. Parents are actually requested to support their schools where possible. Now I hear some people at times on the media who are saying government is already helping these schools. Why should they be able to make a contribution? In some regions which I know in this country, there are parents who pay for their teachers in the UP schools and who actually give support. I know some regions who do this. But ours here is, if you do it, you will be arrested. Who is going to arrest you when there is actually a law existing? Teachers and parents, please work very closely with this on these schools of yours. The schools are yours. They produce your children, and you need to produce quality children who should be able to work like Fred, like the young man here in West Nile TV, to serve our area of West Nile. Unless we do that, unless we create the spirit of voluntarism, then we are going to lag behind, because there are people already who are practicing spirit of voluntarism in their regions, and they at times come and deceive you so that you do nothing, and they are doing a lot for their own areas. I warn you and I advise you at the same time.
Okay, that is it, and we'll be moving to another break. And before we move, I remember those years that our schools used to have piots besides the staff rooms that we have. And these piots were constructed with the grasses. The roofs were with grasses where the teachers feel comfortable. During dry season, they could come and sit there when it is hot. And that was one of the moments I really enjoy. Since I was a very small boy, I would hang around there because that is where teachers come and eat and so on. That was the time I would come and really eat some food with them there. And that is where really I felt it was so good. If this was still there in our schools. That is where teachers interact with learners, because sometimes when teachers are crowded in their staff room, children fear to go there. Some moments, some of these teachers maybe punish these children, and some of them feel bad to go to those kind of teachers. When they come one-on-one like that, the teacher is able to come to these kind of piots, and those are things that were there. We are going to come back and really move on to the issues of the cancellation of payment of PTA funds and other funds that are in these schools. How is this contributing to the current kind of quality of education that we have in this country, in terms of also the welfare of the teachers? Apart from the salaries, those were some of the minor things that motivate these teachers. But now that they are not there, what is the situation now? Let's take a break.
Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Inside technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
A brand new Global Star TV with StarTimes Inside technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that commercial break. Remember earlier on we were discussing about the issues of teachers. Teachers are presenting themselves, issues of really the welfare of the teachers, the issues to do with really how education was before the universal education policy that we have now, the USE, the UPE, and so on, that we have in this country, where most of the people feel like we can now rely on the capitation grant. And there's one school that I really so much went to and really understood how they were able to manage their capitation grant. This is in Terego district. The head teacher told me that they receive 5 million per year, and this money does not really help in bridging all the activities. You know, they have the co-curricular activities that are also here. They have this aspect of administration where you are supposed to motivate teachers where necessary. Learning aids are also in that money, and so on. You understand the amount that is expected to be paid in this. And with this kind of inflation and also rise in this kind of the cost of the materials that we acquire, it is always quite difficult to prepare for any Uhuru celebration. For instance, you have the drums that are need to the schools need to prepare. You have these guys, these girl guys, the scouts and so on. You prepare them. You have this team to assemble all the learners. There are some of these things needed. That is the uniform for the scouting and so on. The teachers, the feeding on that day, everything, it might reach 1 million. And how about the 5 million? You have 3 terms in a year. You split all these 5 million. And that is the challenge that schools are expressing now. To increase the capitation grant, it cannot be increased. And the government said, we are going to pay it per the learner. And the electronic system has made it worse, that people used to forge number of learners in their schools so that they get bigger money. But now this has been really broken down to accountability. How many are there? They count and really they figure it out. And that has been really a very big challenge to them. And I still have Antama Richard Ferua, who is a former teacher and a politician who has been serving and is still serving, I believe. And let's move direct to this issue of the cancellation of PTA funds. Okay? Yeah. So many parents have been reporting to the president directly that schools overcharge them and they deny their learners access to education because they have not paid the PTA fund. You have something introduced as the foundation fee, the PTA fund, the school requirements that are showing mentioned, like sometimes the schools require hose, brooms, and you have the soft one, the hard one, you have other things, ream of paper, books, pens, and so on. So many things you may mention, but a few that are highlighted. Why is it that all this have to come in? And that made the president to say, no, we're not going to allow this kind of charging because we are paying you the capitation grant, sometimes called the USE, the UPE, which all the schools receive. But if you talk about the capitation grant, you realize that a child in primary school in a year gets 14,000. And then in secondary, lower secondary gets 170,000. Upper classes and upper secondary, that is from senior 5 to senior 6, they are paid 255,000 shillings per learner per year. And this is where government is arguing that there's a lot of money that has been sent to the schools. There's no need to pay this kind of other fees. Talk about the PTA, talk about those other charges. Maybe, what is your thought about this?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Fred. Before I proceed to this, the PTA things, let me briefly advise my teachers.
Yes.
First of all, teaching profession does not need laziness. If you are a lazy person, never enter into teaching actual profession, because you are going to spoil the whole essence of education in that area. There are other people who get into teaching simply because they think they are going to get employed and have a salary. Rule that out. You must go into teaching as a profession and as a vocation. Number two, PTA. My fellow parents and teachers outside there, don't politicize education. As soon as you politicize education, you are going to kill education in your area. I earlier mentioned that we used to use the PTA to raise funds and give support to their schools, because these schools are founded by churches, Catholic Church, Anglican Church, Islam, and other faiths. They are only grant aided. The government is giving a grant. The school owners should be able to come out with the policies and negotiate with the government. It is unacceptable. I've earlier told you there is a law, there is an act of parliament that even allows parents to support their school. There is an act. Now here is somebody, you called me a politician and I'm coming to this. Somebody is coming and saying, you people, the capitation grant we have given you is enough. Hey. On which actual planet money can be enough for institutions? Where? Why do we call of actually budget shortages? Because of lack of money. Anywhere in all these institutions, money is not enough. That's why we make a budget. You make a budget to show that there is a limitation, and therefore I'm going to prepare according to how I'm going to receive in the money, because budget is about income and expenditure. And therefore you are very well aware, even when you are making this budget in parliament, when you are talking about the budget in cabinet, you are aware that it is limited. And therefore you should open a space. These parents in private schools are paying what the private schools decide, and they don't complain. But now when they are coming to UPE, you are still even sitting on their nose and telling them, this money you use it and don't put in. And no, I think that's not correct. A politician, Mr. Fred, is somebody who enters into leadership and just want to be elected and elected and elected. That's a politician. For me, I'm a political scientist. I did political science in Uganda Matters University, Democracy and Development Studies, and did masters in governance and human rights, and did masters in international trade and international relations. All these are dealing with the human beings, by the way. These courses have done. And therefore, in handling human beings, you should be able to know that allow human beings to be creative and innovative. Parents should be given innovations. Don't say it because you simply need to have votes. What will be the use of getting your vote and the children are failing actually to progress with education? What will be the need? Therefore, parents, I'm asking you outside there, these parents of West Nile, stop thinking that the government is giving capitation, therefore we are not going to support our schools. These schools belong to you. These schools belong to your church because they are the founders. Therefore, come with their church leaders, come with the local government leaders, support your schools, and you will see the performance is going to improve.
Okay, we are talking about really the status of education right now, and we have seen that a lot of things have changed for over time, and over the years we had really not really all that quality infrastructure that we had in place. There were so many things that were not really right to the modern world, but still we saw the quality of education that we had that time. Does it mean we have failed to maintain that that status because we desire or we treasure the modern ways of life? Maybe. Is that the thing?
Well, that's now what I seem to see. Because so many things now seem to be diverting us. Of course, the society is dynamic. And at a certain moment, people were very conscious, and particularly, by the way, by the time we came back from exile, you know, I was in exile in Congo, there were others in Sudan. Now, when we came, we were more conscious about our schools than today. And today we are relaxed. What is the problem? Have we already achieved our heaven? Are we in heaven on earth here today in our schools? I think we should be able to say, no, the children God has given me must receive proper quality education that is going to cost sustainability of my family. If you didn't go to school, you learn from others who have gone to school and who have better families than yours. You can see other people have better families because they have their children they send to school, they have constructed houses, nice houses. They can be grass nice house, it can be Mobati nice house. You have seen this. You have seen these people have water, clean water in their houses. You have seen these people at times drive. Although driving is not necessarily a standard of living. but that is it, and at least that is a mirror of education. Education should be a torch, and a teacher, actually education is light, and a teacher should be a torch. A teacher flashes the light of the torch, and it should shine. Now, and the parents are here to receive this light and put it in their house. And these are their children. Parents, take your children seriously, give them education, and that is what people will remember you for after your death. Okay.
So, Annawa, I just want your last words because now we are running out of time. We'll be answering in the people who are coming to take us through the news in Lubarati.
Okay.
And then we'll maybe continue in the subsequent days.
Oh, I'm grateful.
Yes.
Mr. Fred, I'm now appealing to our people of West Nile to take education more seriously than actually even before. And go back in the history of those schools when people were paying, parents were paying fees. The fees they were paying was not so much, but their schools were running even much better, and that's what I did. I did it 12 years in Ndiria Primary School, and the results are out. I could narrate so many professors from that place and the doctors, and from Omogo the same. And I told you I've been burying my very dear, engineer, one of the brilliant engineers from Ombachi Secondary School, who has been working in Simba hydropower. You can see. We have children. We have no power here, but we have children who are producing power for this country. Therefore, take children, parents, take children seriously. Teachers, please go to classroom, be a professional teacher. Be empathetic, sympathize with the children, sympathize with the parents, and sympathize with our community. We are sinking, and we are singing. We can rise ourselves. Don't wait from government. Do it yourself.
Okay.
For God and my country.
All right, that is it from Anna Richard Ferua, who is a retired teacher and also someone who has worked so much with the local government in terms of leadership, and that is it from him. And we are waiting out these discussions to do with the teachers aspect and also the issues to do with education. Remember, the country has had really that quality of education that has gone very, very low. If you look at the world rankings, now Uganda does not feature in the top 30. And this is so touching. And what should we do in relation to this? We have so many people who have been flying from other parts of the continent who were coming for education here in Uganda. But what has gone wrong? That's where we want to really look at those kind of aspects. Tomorrow we will also still have a few things to say about teachers, since we are the whole of this week is the World Teachers Week, and really we will be able to appreciate the works that have been done by teachers and also the efforts by government to ensure that teachers really remain professional. They do a lot that they are really supposed to do, but also their work is appreciated. Tomorrow we may talk much about the role of the parents, and today we have really centered around the teachers and also how really some of these pronouncements in the policies have affected the teaching fraternity generally. And my name is Frederick Tamadri. I've been the host for this KOKOLIRIKO edition of Monday. Today is the second day of October 2023. We're out of the studios.
Thank you.